In the late 80s and early 90s, it seemed like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were everywhere. Comics, cartoons, action figures, and even video games. And their first outing on the NES was a bit rough. A platformer with poor collision detection, and some of the turtles were basically useless to play as, but fortunately their second entry would establish a formula that would go well going forward, putting the turtles in a side-scrolling beat-em-up in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles II, the arcade game. And while the arcade version was excellent, the version that was ported to the NES was just okay. It just couldn't really capture the true magic that was playable in the arcades. Fast forward a few years, and not only did we get an amazing arcade game, but this time we got a home console version that was actually even better. Released in arcades in the Super Nintendo in 1991, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles IV: Turtles in Time is widely considered to not just be the best Ninja Turtles game, but perhaps one of, if not the best beat-em-up ever made. The story here is April O'Neil is reporting when Krang flies in and steals the Statue of Liberty. Shredder hijacks the airwaves and taunts the Turtles. After battling their way to the Technodrome, Shredder sends them through a time warp, and now the Ninja Turtles must fight Shredder's army in both the past and the future in order to get home. You can choose from any of the four turtles. Leonardo is the most balanced, Donatello is the weakest but has the best reach, Michelangelo is the slowest but the strongest, and Raphael is the fastest but has the shortest reach. And regardless of who you choose in the game, it's a ton of fun. It adds a bit of replay value actually to go back and play the game with each character. And it should be noticed that in the original arcade version, you can play as 4 of the turtles, but here on the Super Nintendo it's down to 2. However, making up for the lack of more players, there are now additional levels. The game plays as perfectly as you could get for this era of video games. Tight controls and great hit detection, and it never feels unbalanced. It has by far one of the coolest mechanics not found in other beat-em-ups, and that's the ability to throw your enemies at the screen. And it even serves as a way to defeat Shredder in one of the boss battles. And it all adds to all of the small things that really tie this game together. From the great animations of falling into a hole, stubbing your toe, getting the pizza power to spin around and destroy enemies around you, hitting a fire hydrant to use as a projectile, they all really add up to make this world come together. There's even small moments, like in the Technodrome, where Shredder will laugh and taunt at you as you get ready to face him. The Foot Clan even sort of morph into the stage from the ground, they'll get carried in by pterodactyls, change weapon types during certain stages, and all of this just fits the theme of the cartoon. It really makes for great enemy variety, as so often in beat-em-ups, it feels like you're just fighting the exact same enemies over and over and over again. There are 10 stages to play through, most set in a different time period, including the streets of New York, a pirate ship, a futuristic highway, a prehistoric era, and even Starbase.
Starbase, where no turtle has gone before.
I do love that they say each stage before you start them. It really gets you pumped up as you get going. There's even stage hazards and cool stuff going on in the backgrounds as well. Everything from the Krang robot attacking you to pirate ships shooting cannonballs. It just helps the action stay constant. At the end of each stage, you have bosses from the entire series, including Bebop, Rocksteady, Stockman, Metalhead, and more. They all play pretty similarly. They attack, have a moment in which you can lay into them, jump to the other side of the stage, and repeat the process. You also have the ability to switch between cartoon and comic character sprites if you want to change the color of the turtles themselves. The cartoon graphics are a brighter green on all 4 turtles, with the comic sprites looking a little bit more like the old Ninja Turtle action figures, which is actually the style I prefer, especially on Donatello, which gives him a much more olive green. I should point out that Neon Knight Riders is especially a highlight of the game, as it makes use of the Super Nintendo's Mode 7 scrolling effect, and it kind of reminds me of F-Zero for a bit. The soundtrack here is awesome as well, and is one of the best soundtracks on the system. It goes far beyond just being good game music, as it somehow accomplishes 3 things all at once. Fitting the style of the Ninja Turtles theme, it also fits the stage it belongs to, and somehow makes it all feel cohesive, which is saying something considering that you jump around from different time periods. And the great sound design doesn't just stop at the music. The sound effects itself really fits each stage perfectly. There's just a satisfying crunch every time you lay into an enemy, and it just blends into the music. Turtles in Time did receive a remake in Turtles in Time Reshelled in 2009 for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. It allowed for 4 players all at once, had 3D graphics and a different soundtrack, and I've always found it myself to be pretty mediocre. It just lacks a lot of the charm that made the original Turtles in Time what it was. And it's also about impossible to play today since it was delisted on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 marketplace. So if you are looking to pick up Turtles in Time today, the Super Nintendo version goes for around $40 to $60 on eBay. It is also an unlockable game in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Mutant Nightmare for the PlayStation 2, and that game goes for around $20. In fact, there are even reproduction arcade machines if you want to go that route, but those range for around the $400 and up price range, but certainly would make a great piece in anyone's game room. If you like this episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button or check out our podcast on iTunes or come hang out on Twitch. We'll see you next time, and as always, thanks for watching.